Hi, everyone. This is Josh Hoffman, and welcome to another episode of Masters in Marketing Agency podcast. Today, I have Rick Campbell, CEO and VP of Marketing of the CMS Group in Las Vegas. The CMS Group designs casino marketing, casino management, and operation strategies and solutions for various casinos and resort properties. Welcome, Rick.
Welcome. Thank you.
So I want to jump right into it and learn a little bit more about how you got into the casino space. Obviously, that's a little bit more unique than a lot of the people we talk to. And I think, we'll start to dive into what's specific about the casino industry, as well as, what connects to other industries as well. But just really want to hear how you got started in that field.
Well, Josh, I actually, it's a unique story. I actually was working sound and lighting engineer for various concerts and national acts and things like that throughout college. And after college, I thought, well, this would be the career I'd want. And I actually went out to work with a couple of different production companies, riding in semis and tour buses around the country. I kind of got burned out on it after a couple of years. And I was fortunate enough that being born and raised in Kansas City, there was a casino that was opening in Kansas City that was looking to put a bunch of concerts and events on. And I actually ended up being a contractor through a production company they were using. And it was great because I could, go do concerts and shows there at the casino. And basically I'd go in, turn on the sound system, do sound check, have dinner, do the show, and turn it off at night and be able to go to bed in my own bed at night. But as I was moving along, the casino actually hired me as their entertainment manager to oversee all the entertainment for them, and started doing promotions. And then there was a change with the casino going through a buyout. And at that time, I'd gone to school for marketing, and they said, hey, why don't you come on board and take on a little bit more duties of marketing. Ended up being an interim director of marketing. And from there on, I just stayed in the business and stayed in the field. The great thing is the entertainment business, entertainment's always still fallen under marketing. So I've still had that realm underneath me. And throughout my career, it's been nice because I still go out and do sound and lighting sometimes at the concerts just to keep my chops up. But, I get made fun of sometimes when they're like, hey, aren't you the vice president of marketing at this casino? And now you're standing behind the soundboard. But, it's been fun and it's been a great career, and I've enjoyed it. I really have.
How did you fall into marketing then? Because obviously, your intro into that space didn't directly have anything to do with marketing. So how did you kind of fall into the marketing space?
Well, like I said, entertainment was up underneath marketing all the time, or majority of the time in the casino world. And, as I was moving from the entertainment manager, they started giving me the duties of, direct mail, some advertising, and I just started taking on those roles, and I just moved my way on up from there, from that first time of being an entertainment manager. And then throughout the years, all the way up to vice president of marketing at some properties, and even at the corporate level.
And I guess, how did you end up getting your first customer for your agency?
Well, when I was working in the casino industry, it went on a roller coaster ride. There's a lot of buyouts. There's a lot of bankruptcies. And myself and a couple of other executives that had quite a few years experience in the casino world, we were like, well, why don't we take our skills and knowledge and, start assisting some other casinos. And just so happened that some of the casinos we worked at then became our clients.
Did you have a partner when you first started, or like when was that point of growth where you're like, okay, this is a little bit bigger than me, I need to start hiring or need to find a partner or anything like that?
Like I said, it was a group of us casino executives that got together and decided to form the company. So we became partners. We knew we needed to be a team. There wasn't just one person that was going to lead. In fact, I was voted in as the CEO role not too long ago, and it was one of those things of I didn't know if I really wanted to have that role because I was used to being a team. But like they said, we're still going to be a team. We just have to have titles. It seems like you have to have the titles when you're in a business.
Let's double click on how you got voted in. What did that process look like?
It was a round table discussion, and all the straws got drawn towards me.
Anything in particular you think was the reason for you getting voted?
No, I think because with my team and with my partners, I think it's been great the fact that we have a large network of casino executives. We laugh because the casino industry is a small industry, even though there's over 1,500 casinos nationwide in the U.S. It just seems like we're all 2 degrees away from connecting to each other, and so we always laugh because the big casino conference that's going to be coming up here shortly, G2E. You walk along the floor and there's 30,000-40,000 people, but it seems like you're shaking hands with everybody because everybody kind of knows each other.
And I guess holding on to the casino part of everything, what do you think really has been the biggest difference between maybe marketing for casinos relative to possibly other companies? And I know you haven't really worked in the other industries, but is there anything that you can kind of talk to that's very different in the marketing side for casinos relative to like CPG or service-based businesses?
In the casino industry, it's very data driven. You really got to have understanding of the data, understanding the view of the customer, especially in the casino industry, because you feel like you're actually marketing various areas of the casino. You got the hotel side, you got the casino side, you have the food and beverage outlets, you possibly have a spa, you possibly have a golf course. So you're marketing different brands almost inside of itself. You have the one large brand that's the resort, but then you also have the brands that are inside of it, such as your fine dining restaurant or your cafe or even the Players Club program, which is your loyalty program in the casino, can become its own brand. A prime example is Harrah's with their Total Rewards program. It's its own brand. So you're taking each one of these brands and you're marketing the brands, and then you're trying to actually complement them together because it's in one resort. So you're trying to make the complement between all the brands inside of it.
Do you have any examples? You kind of were starting on one, but do you have any examples of how the 2 different kind of brands work together in a campaign?
Yeah, for instance, some of the hotels are even flagged. They got flagships to them. There's a Marriott that possibly oversees the hotel. So you got the Marriott brand that you're able to access with their database and be able to market to their customers, let alone it's inside the resort of the casino itself, and then trying to market what's on the property as far as the casino floor. And then, you may have a fine dining restaurant, a steakhouse that you're trying to brand and get the hotel customer to eat at that steakhouse instead of going across the street to the casino, possibly across the street. And so you're trying to keep those brands and front of mind when they're sitting there at that resort.
Gotcha. And then on the data side, what kind of tools are you using? Or, anything, really speak on anything on the data side. What kind of data points are you pulling, and what tools are you using to pull those?
Inside the casino world, there's the loyalty program, what we call the player tracking system, and then there's the slot system that takes and actually, basically, sorry, I'm trying to figure this. The slot side that actually takes the information from the slots of what's happening inside the slot system itself. But as far as the player tracking, we're actually seeing the spend on players. We're actually seeing basically their behavior while they're on property, and we're trying to reward them with that loyalty program too, as far as their spend, and giving them some offers back and possibly points towards their spend, and be able to look at the customer of how they're basically going across the casino floor and staying in the hotel, what they're even doing in the hotel. Did they order a king size room, non-smoking? Did they want a certain floor? We're trying to get all these touch points so that we can actually take care of the customer and understand what their expectations are when they come to your property.
And obviously, casino world getting pretty impacted with the pandemic and everything. Have you seen any changes over the past few years, either because of the pandemic or just generally speaking, that maybe something was that worked before and isn't working now? Or have you seen any kind of changes with the pandemic in regards to marketing for casinos?
As far as customer touch points, that it's always been tried and true that the personal touch. I have seen some casinos and some actual properties that have gone to the automated check-in, say for the front desk at the hotel. I'm using this as an example, where people can go in, swipe their driver's license or scan their driver's license, be able to check in their hotel, get all their room key basically printed off for them right there. The downside to that, though, is you still are not having that one-on-one conversation with a human being at the front desk. I still believe in that as being a tried and true, being able to get that personal touch that I think it's a little bit more as I call it, the warm and fuzzy feeling with the customer of being able to talk to a human than being able just to scan a driver's license and sometimes the machine doesn't even answer the questions that maybe a customer may have, and it seems that a lot of times the customer is then having to wait for someone again because the pandemic. Staffing levels are a little lower. It's nice to have that automated because again, you don't have to rely on a staff. But at the same token, the customer would like to see someone and be able to talk to someone. So I think there's some challenges there when you start looking at beyond the pandemic of trying to go automated and thinking this is a quick and easy way to have a customer come in and talk to you when there's nobody to talk to at the front desk. It's the catch-22 of are you trying to save money on the staffing levels, or are you actually trying to be a personable customer service?
So interesting, because it sounds like you have a lot more kind of going on, sometimes, not to say that other ones are easier, but you have so many different avenues and so many different things you have to touch with this marketing plan. How do you keep all your shit together?
Well, one of the things I've always been a believer on, and this is even working inside the casino business as marketing or outside as an agency, a marketing plan is not a one-person deal or a one-department deal. Even though there's a marketing department, when you create your marketing plan, it's a buy-in from the whole entire property. So you have to touch base with the person that's in charge of slots, the person that's in charge of table games, the person that's in charge of food and beverage. They all have to have input into the marketing plan, and they all have to have buy-in into the marketing plan. The plan won't work unless you get everybody's input and everybody's working together on that marketing plan. So when you're saying about all these different areas, you're trying to put in the marketing plan, it's because you're looking at the support of those different departments of actually understanding the plan and working together on it.
Are you building the plan? Is one or two people building the plan and then kind of presenting it to the rest of the team, or is it more collaborative? Or what does that process look like?
It's more collaborative. I mean, you do have one person, of course, that's there to gather all the information, and to actually put it into a structured form of your marketing plan, which is I believe your marketing department itself. But again, you're reaching into all the different divisions and all the different departments to work together of what the expectations are, what the goals are, and actually the execution of how to execute that plan. A marketing department can't be in every single area of a resort, especially a large resort. So they have to rely on those different departments to actually, again, execute and help make that plan right and hit the goals that you're looking for in that plan.
Nice. Going back to you guys, starting this, what was the group number? How many of you guys started this?
There was 4 of us.
And I believe you're bigger than that now, right?
Yeah, we're quite a bit larger than that, and actually with some outside services as well, or outside contract service as well.
Well, let's actually first dive into that. What kind of contracted services are you using, and why do you have those contracted as opposed to in-house?
Well, like in-house, we do have a graphic designer, but then there's times when we're going to be needing to look at enlarging that department. So we'll contract out some graphic designers, that may be needed. As far as, like the mail house, we don't do actually the mail house, but we actually build the whole mail program behind it. And then of course we work with the mail house to launch the direct mail out for us.
So what was the first position that you hired after the 4, right? Like you're like, all right, we're growing. We need obviously some more help. It sounds like your first hire, well, I shouldn't say, I'm guessing your first hire might be in-house as opposed to a contractor. What was that first or maybe first 2 hires look like, and why did you, finally execute on that?
Well, one of them was, of course, back to the graphic designer. We had to bring a graphic designer in
from the beginning,
to be able to
from the beginning
the workload.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we brought a graphic designer in.
Oh, you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we brought a graphic designer in because, again, the workload, we knew we were getting a lot of jobs in that were for creative services, and we needed to bring somebody in. And, of course, that person can actually oversee, maybe the part-time contract designers that we needed and things like that. So it was nice to have the one person that could actually oversee all of the creative and design work. and especially when the fact is that you don't want every single piece to look the same, So we had to bring somebody in because I'll be honest with you, the four of us were not graphic people. We're creative, but we're not graphic people. So we definitely need to bring somebody in on that side of it. The other side was the operations, bringing in someone that could understand a little bit of the operational analytics and working with the operations teams.
Did you ever make a hiring mistake? Either too quickly, not the right person, anything like that?
It goes with the growing pains of a business. You do find someone that you think is very, very well suited for a position, and then once they're in the position, you start working with them. You're just not getting the productivity you want to get out of them that you would or that you'd like to see. So you have to move on. I mean, that's just part of growing up the business and knowing that the expectations of what you're looking for and then what you want to supply for your clients is to the highest level that you're looking for. And sometimes you hire somebody that doesn't fit that model that you'd like to have.
Would you do anything differently during the interview process, during any part of that process?
I didn't change much of the interviewing process, but I should say I did start asking a little bit more of the questions that would fit what I was looking for. Instead of looking at just the background and the experience and the skills, because we are looking for the fact that our company has people that have been very well suited in this business for over 20 years. And it looks great on a resume that somebody has over that kind of experience, but you find out that maybe they just don't fit the expectations that you're looking for, and especially what you want to provide to your clients.
Would you rather hire someone with a lot of casino experience and maybe is just getting started in whatever you're trying to hire them for, or would you rather have it vice versa, or somewhere in the middle? But it's a cheap answer.
Well, with the casino business, you really would like to have them with a lot of experience in the casino industry because of the terminology, the understanding of the business. It's a very unique industry from other people from other industries. But yeah, you want to have somebody that can understand that terminology, and especially, like I said, back to being a lot of data driven, understanding the data, understanding what we're looking for with customers. So yeah, you look for that casino experience.
And on the other side, the employees that you've hired that are spectacular, they go above and beyond. Is there anything that you can identify either, again, during the interview process, before that, or even while they start working, that you can say, we now look for that because we've learned that makes a very good employee?
I think it's, again, when they can understand the casino industry, they actually can be very personable to your clients because they can talk the same language. The client understands; they understand what the client's looking for. With the casinos, they want to feel comfortable that when you walk in and they start talking, that you understand it. So as far as looking for those type of people, and when we did the interview process, yeah, we want to look back, and of course, we do our own background work too. It's one of those things of, like I said, the industry cracks me up because it's so big, but yet it's so small that you can just call somebody up and say, "Hey, didn't you work with so and so?" And they say, "Yeah," and then you can find out a little bit, of their knowledge and skill set as well.
So one of my favorite things about any job is naturally going to be the perks that come with, that position or that industry or anything. I got to guess that you have some pretty good perks in the casino world. Are you allowed to say any of them? What kind of perks do you get? Free hotels, anything like that?
Well, actually, it's not even just with the casino business, but with my entertainment background, I can still see a good show every once in a while and get some good seats. So, it's not necessarily also just the casino industry, but again, we all try to be there for each other. If you're traveling and you're saying, "Hey, I'm going to be stuck here," you try to call in a friend, and you may not get a free room, you may not get a free food, but you might get a little bit of a discount every once in a while. Depending on the type of season and what's going on around the area.
Any recommendations on if anyone's going to Vegas, what they should have their eyes on? Completely
Uh,
completely unrelated to anything marketing or anything we're talking about. Just a fun Vegas trip.
I think the main thing is to look at the calendar of what's going on in the city at the time. Like I said, there's a lot of huge conferences that come through town, and the strip gets picked up pretty good on some of those conferences in downtown. So, if you're planning a trip and you're thinking, hey, I want to be kind of out of a crowd, look at the event calendar of the city, because living in the city, there's a lot of times that we look at the calendar so we can make sure that we don't go anywhere near the strip too when some of those conferences are going on.
Also, there's a Formula One race next year in Vegas. That's my hope to get over there for that. Just a few more questions as we kind of come up to the end of this. If you had to teach anything to other marketers, what would it be? If you're a professor or you have a class in front of you, whatever the situation is there anything that you would teach to other marketers?
First and foremost, I can tell you this, that most of my success and the success that we've had, not either working in the casino or even outside on the agency side, comes from the fact of having a good team. Make sure you get the good team behind you. I know it kind of sounds cliche sometimes, but some of the most successful campaigns and programs that I've put together, like I said, when I was at the casino or outside in the agency, is because of the team that we had to build it. Make sure and then the other thing too is if you're going to put a good team like that together, is putting together good expectations, and achievable goals. Don't reach for the sun if you can't hit it. Your goals have to be obtainable, and that way, then later on, you can roll up the sleeves and sit down and have a drink or dinner with your team and say, yeah, that was a success because you've reached the goals that you've actually put out there.
Do you have any kind of specific structure of building the goals and then hitting the goals?
Well, a lot of it is that we do make sure that we run pro formas on every campaign that we ever put together. And I think a lot of that comes from experience that from myself. I actually had all of my GMs I ever worked for in the past all came from finance background. So I have a lot of people that laugh about that, is that they're like, well, you're the marketing guy, you shouldn't get along with the finance guy. But no, the finance guy wanted to know the numbers and everything before we launched everything. I mean, we made sure it all penciled so we could make sure we could hit the goals that we were looking for. And the other great thing about that too is after a campaign was ran, we would always run the post, what we call post formas, to see how those numbers came out. And a lot of times I'd hear some marketing people that I've heard in the past say, well, look, we packed the casino floor and it was great. But from my background, it was always why. Okay, great, you did it, but why? How? Why was it successful? So we always run those analysis afterwards to make sure that we understand why we hit the goals we did or exceeded the goals we did, and then find out why, so that maybe it's something we want to shelve and bring back later. You want to know the reasonings why when you want to go look back at for the next year.
This may be an awful question, but is there anything that comes to your minds in one of those pro formas or after of why it was successful?
Sometimes it was just the campaign itself. Sometimes it was that time of season. Sometimes it was because we hit the right segmentation of players. There's a lot of different factors that can make it successful. And I don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say everything was all rainbow and roses. We have had some campaigns that you wondered why it didn't work, but you find out later it was like a seasonality, or it was possibly you hit the wrong demographic of customer that you were looking for. When I look at demographic, it could be a radius, it could be by age, it could be by gender, it could be by play, it could be what style of play, because when we talk about style of play, we're looking at different types of machines, different type of games. Maybe we hit the wrong person there. You got to take all those factors into consideration, and especially when you're doing your pro formas and your post formas.
Awesome. And then just a couple more questions. What do you enjoy, and you can take a second to think about this if you need to. What do you enjoy talking about the most that you normally don't get an opportunity to talk about? It doesn't have to be marketing. It can be anything. It can be marketing focused and anything you really want.
Well, the funny thing is one of the things I've always enjoyed and is most creative for me is always been putting together the promotions and special events and and things like that. To me, it's always been the success is watching people walk away with a smile on their face and saying, that was incredible. I can't wait until they do another one. Of course, then you try to top the next one and you try to top the next one. But those are always the fun ones, and it could be holiday parties. It could be themed parties. It could be certain concerts that we've put together, certain festivals. Those are the fun parts for me, is because being creative on that side of it, of creating something that just is the wow, and again, I want people to walk away with and walk away with a smile on their face, and I think that comes back from my entertainment experience. When I was doing shows and concerts and festivals, it was watching, 28,000 people get together and all cheering and laughing and having a great time and knowing that they were having fun. I know some of that depends on the entertainment, but it was this blood, sweat, and tears you put into the planning and knowing that everybody had a good time. It was smooth and everybody left and it was exciting.
Real quick, last concert you've been to and best concert you've seen?
Oh gosh. There's been so many. I remember going to, now I'm aging myself. I remember going to Pink Floyd concerts and just being in wow, when you walked away, because you're like, how did they get a pig to fly? But the last concert I was at, gosh, they kind of melt together because it seems like I just go into one after the other. Sometimes I'm there just for a little while, maybe to see some friends. Sometimes I'm there for the whole entire show. Gosh, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, there's been so many.
Any on top of mind that just, not the last one, but maybe recently? I'm just curious. This is a personal thing.
I saw 9 Inch Nails. Again, a fabulous show, an incredible show. Again, your heart stops from the show itself. In fact, then I've also seen, I've seen everybody. I mean, I've seen Waylon and Willie when they were together. I've seen, you name it. I mean, like I said, I've seen everything from Neil Diamond to Motley Crue, so I could never tell you. It's been an incredible ride.
And then last question, books. Do you have any recommendation on any books, business, anything?
A lot of it I pick up of just, blogs.
I was going to say, or podcasts
online.
or blogs, anything in that category, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just when I'm doing my research, when I'm looking for new trends and, excuse me, and new expectations of trying to find some new ideas. Some of my inspiration comes from just blogs and online. And I can't name just specifically one because sometimes it's just a small article or maybe it's a small paragraph that I pick up. But, again, marketing is an ever-changing avenue. I laugh because I did have someone quite a while back ask me if I'd write a book on casino marketing. And I told him no, because by the time I get to the end of it, hit the period, it's all changed. Or there's new things and new ideas. I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be a time when someone can say, hey, I wrote a book on casino marketing or marketing, and say that it's an expert book, because it's changed by the time it's published. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I would just look online, and I think for anybody that's looking for ideas, it's the world's at your fingertips with the internet.
Yeah, no, well said. And as we come to the end of the episode, I just want to give you an opportunity to mention how people can find you, and anything else that you want to end with.
Anyone that wants to look us up, we're at www.cmsgroupinc.com. We're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're on all social media channels. We've had a lot of people that have, found us just by researching, for casino marketing. They can find us there too. Anytime they want to reach out, and anytime they want to just even discuss or brainstorm, that's one of the great things is with this company, we've all decided that door is wide open. And anybody can call us for even ideas.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show. And with that, I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks for listening to the Masters in Marketing Agency podcast. I hope you got a ton of value out of this episode. And before we go, I just want to thank our sponsors, DevNoodle. DevNoodle provides marketing agencies with the ability to offer their clients unlimited website design, build, and management services with fixed monthly plans. If website design, development, and maintenance is holding your agency back from growing, please reach out to us at devnoodle.com, where we make websites easy for you and easy for your clients. devnoodle.com.